Everyone, I'd like to welcome everyone to the Newman City Council regular meeting for October 9th, 2018. Would everyone please stand for the pledge of allegiance to the flag and remain standing for invocation. Ready to begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Perhaps the surest test of an individual's integrity is his refusal to do or say anything that would damage his self-respect. Let's pray. Most gracious Father, we thank you tonight for the opportunity to serve our community. We pray your blessings on this assembly and on the citizens of our community. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember McDonald?
Here.
Graham?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Candia?
Here.
Day?
Here.
Mayor Martina?
Here. Declaration, conflicts of interest? None. Being none tonight, we'll move right on to ceremonial matters. Tonight we have State of Education in Stanislaus County, a presentation by Stanislaus County Superintendent of Schools, Tom Sheon. Tom, I hope I said your name right.
Oh, you did just fine. You did just fine. No problem. Well, Mr. Mayor and council members and staff, distinguished audience that we have here today, thanks for having me out to your wonderful community of Newman. It's just a pleasure to be here and to be able to talk about education and what's going on in Stanislaus County and to let you know of the good news that's going on. Now, I will say, if the Giants were in the playoffs right now, this would be a really quick report so I could get out to watch the rest of the game. But, you know, alas, another next year. Wait till next year, right? So just today, I was at elementary school, and it's fun being in elementary school classrooms because you never know these students. I went in a little second grade class, and the students were doing some music with these recorders. I don't know if you've ever seen these recorders. They're kind of like a little flute, and they were kind of just blowing into them. And I carry a harmonica with me sometimes, and I'll play a harmonica. And so the kids played a little bit, and I got my harmonica, and I played it, and they, you know, I thought everything was great. And then, so I told the teacher, well, thanks for having me. And as I was leaving, I waved to the class. I said, well, you know, good luck. I hope you all get better. And then this one little boy said, yeah, I hope you get better too. I said, I like it. I like that little boy. He's got some spunk there. So we're going to talk tonight, just give a brief summary of primarily what's happened with the latest countywide initiative that we've had called Destination Graduation. And you know, I've been out here and I've spoken before when we've had these initiatives. You all have a booklet there that kind of summarizes what we've done, the pillars that were involved with this initiative. But I wanted to just give you a backdrop so that you understand kind of where we are in Stanislaus County and the state of California. And so this first little chart shows you that in the last couple decades, how the numbers have just skyrocketed in terms of student enrollment in the state of California. So we're educating over 2 million more students than we were just a few decades ago. And what that has really done is put a lot of pressure on our schools. You don't read about new schools being built. There's a lot of schools that need modernization. A lot of districts are trying to get bonds passed for improvements. And the wear and tear on that with the additional students, not to mention, you always hear about the teacher shortage. You know, a lot of young people are not going into the field of education, and it's sad. And here's something I remember, and just going back a quick little side story. When I got through school, I was blessed to be drafted by the Houston Nationals. I played some pro ball, and a couple years into my career, I threw my arm out, and that was before Tommy John surgery. So back in those days, they just say, "Well, have a good life." And he's like, "Wait!" But the point is, I had an education, and I called a couple friends of mine, and they said, "Oh my gosh, Tom, what are you doing now?" And I said, "Well, I'm looking for a job. Is what I'm doing now." And they said, "We're into teaching. We're teaching and coaching. Man, it's awesome. You ought to do it." And so I jumped in, and it was just the best thing that ever happened in my life. And so, well, outside getting married, you know, my wife and kids and stuff. But here's the point. How many young people today that are just starting into teaching are calling their friends saying, hey man, you ought to get into teaching? It's not happening. Because teaching's hard. It's a challenge. And it's a lot of work. And so we have to work through that to make the teaching profession attractive, where people want to get into it, to make a difference in the lives of these young people. So here it is. This is the numbers that we're talking about. These next two pie charts, pay close attention to them, because this is a reflection of our state of California as well as Stanislaus County. And so you see, these figures were all from the California Department of Education. 1980, you see that pie chart. Now let's just fast forward to today, and there it is. So this is our reality, and we know that it's all good, but the difference is the young Hispanic students that are in our schools now, of that pie chart, 85% of those students are labeled. We don't label, but they have a name, and they're called ELs, English learners, which means those students, 85% of that population goes home at night and speaks another language other than English. So here's the deal. The teachers want to get everybody reading at grade level by third grade while trying to get these youngsters to acquire the English language at the same time. And that's a real challenge. That's a task. Just think about if you were in that situation. So that's what we're dealing with that is so different than our schools and education just a few decades ago. It's that dual language immersion. It's trying to help young people acquire the English language as soon as possible. But it's difficult because, you know, they're not just getting fully immersed in it, for example, when they go home. So that's kind of what we're doing and where we are, and that's just what our reality is. You can see here we have over 10,000 schools in the state of California, and in our county we have 187. There's the breakdown, and the county office is actually a school district, even though we really don't have our own students. The local district sends students to us that are our most needy and vulnerable. So sometimes students make some bad choices, get in trouble, and they go into our system of alternative education, which includes juvenile hall. Or oftentimes school districts do not have the capacity to operate special ed programs for severe students, and we operate those programs as well. So we're a support provider for the other districts. So it all boils down to the book right here, and you probably heard me talk about this book before. It's by Jim Clifton, and Jim Clifton is the CEO of the Gallup poll. And you always read about, well, the Gallup poll, latest Gallup poll, all of this. Well, he wrote this book called The Coming Jobs War, and he's dead serious about this. He did a poll, a world poll, for the last 6 years, and this world poll said, what is your biggest concern you have as a human being? Not as an American, because it was worldwide. And so when I read that part, I thought, okay, well, I'm kind of concerned about terrorism. I'm concerned about our health care. I'm concerned about immigration. I'm concerned about the economy. There are a lot of things to be concerned about. The number one concern 6 years in a row, according to the Gallup poll, are jobs. People want to know, am I going to be able to live my life and have a job? But more importantly, will my child have a job? That they will be able to support themselves. That, around the world, is the biggest concern. So what do we have to do? We have to prepare our young people so they're ready for this global competition. And why do I say global competition? Because recently I was in LA for some meetings, and the night before, I'm in the lobby of a hotel. There had to have been 400 Japanese students in that lobby. And they were impeccably dressed, they looked nice, they spoke perfect English. I went up to several, I said, hey, so you're here, Disneyland, vacation, Magic Mountain, woohoo, you know, vacation? They looked at me serious. They said, no. Well, what are you here for? We're here to look for job opportunities in America. Wait, time out. I want our kids to have those jobs. But these kids are hungry, and they're polished, and they're smart. And so our challenge is to make sure our kids are at that same level. Because if you're a business owner and you're interviewing, you want the best. And you don't care where the best come from. You just want the best. We want those best to come from Stanislaus County in America. So that's what we're up to right now. So this is the job, and this is kind of a couple little jokes here about how we're dealing with young people today. You all know that because we're just in a digital era. That's our lives now. And it's a good thing. Our students, Paul will tell you as a board member, technology has changed and allowed students to become engaged in learning, but you just have to find that balance, you know. I just applaud parents that tell their kids that, you know, put your device on the kitchen table when you go to bed. You know, you're not up all night watching that or playing video games. All that stuff that can be really distracting for young people, and it gets them in trouble. We know social media, social bullying, all of that comes into play in our schools, so we have to really be careful of that. So here we are. The students that have graduated recently did a survey, and they said, you know, we all of a sudden got out into the real world, and it's like, whoa, I didn't know it was going to be this tough. You know, I got to work like eight hours and every day. Well, yeah, that's the idea. That's why you're trying to be prepared so that you're ready for that. You're ready for the workforce. And so we have to make sure that we do a nice job of that. I remember when I was a youngster growing up, that when we'd have holidays together and stuff, all my family members, they would always, well, Tommy, what do you want to be when you grow up, you know? And back then in Idaho, I was a farmer, you know. Well, I wanted to be a farmer, but that's okay. But at least you're thinking about it. And we don't do enough of that nowadays, where we ask young people what they want to do or be, because the world is open to them, if they just need to start thinking about it. So here we go. Now, I want to let you know, I'm going to just mention, this is Destination Graduation, the booklet that you have, is the 4th initiative that we have done together as a county. And I say that. Now, maybe the county office has been the engine that's driven it, but we're all in this together, right? And the great thing about this first initiative that we did 12 years ago was this Everyday Counts, and you can see up there, over $3 million of additional revenue came into local school districts because of only one reason. Students were attending more regularly. And that's just helping parents understand that just missing one day a month with their child, that's 10 days. 10 days a year. In Japan, those students told me they attend school 232 days a year. Now, maximum in California were 180, and some districts less than that. And so that's 50 days a year, and you multiply that out over 12 years. Look at the number of days instructional time that those students get that ours don't. So Everyday Counts, big, huge success. And why was it a success? Because we all rallied around it. Businesses, school district, every school district in the county said, we're in. Their board signed resolutions, and local communities and businesses jumped on board with us. Then the second one, this is the Fit for the Future. Why do we do this one? Well, because I met with the people at Kaiser one year, and they said, Tom, do you realize in Stanislaus County, you have about 18% of your third graders are borderline on childhood obesity? Well, don't tell me that. I see kids running around the playground. It was true. We have the data to show it. Because kids in 3rd grade, 5th grade, they're all given physical fitness tests. Well, that's alarming because, you know, by the time they get to be teenagers, they're going to be taking medicines, and we don't want that. So we ramped into this. Then Governor Schwarzenegger's, his big thing was Fit for the Future. And I can tell you that all of our communities once again rallied around. I'd hear stories about families after supper going down to the football field and walking around the track and stuff like that. It was great. And what did we get from doing that? Here's what we got. 3 local school districts received $100,000 gymnasiums. And 2 years in a row, Stanislaus County was recognized as County of the Year for the Governor's Fitness Challenge. I got to be the recipient of some of the travel because the governor's secretary would call Hilda and they'd say, Hilda, we want Tom to join the governor in Los Angeles on Wednesday to talk to a group of people about what they're doing in Stanislaus County. He'd always say, Stanislaus County, you know, the way that the governor talked. I'm not going to do that anymore. But the point is, we were recognized for something great that was going on, and it was a proud time for us in this movement. But there's more, because what happened in 2006, you know, the Great Recession came, and all of a sudden I would be going to school board meetings and occasionally a city council or board of supervisor meeting, and people would not be really having a very social discourse. It was quite uncivil. So what came next? We know the Choose Civility Initiative. And I think the highlight of this, it says right here, we had over 250 business partners with this initiative, countywide initiative. And it would make my heart happy that on Friday dress down days, around Modesto sometimes, I would see employees walking around with t-shirts that would say, "Just be nice," because their employers would get the t-shirts for them. And that whole thing of just spreading kindness and respect, it's like, good grief. And I can't tell you how many people have called me or sent me an email and said, "Oh, we need to bring that back. Quick, hurry." Because, our country is sadly divided, and it's toxic because people are not being nice. And we just have to keep working on this. And the other major thing is that 7 other county offices, I did a report to the 58 counties, the state, on what we're doing, and 7 other counties took all of our material and implemented it. I went and kind of trained them up, and so it rippled out, and that's a nice thing to know that, once again, Stanislaus County was on the cutting edge on that. And then came destination graduation. Well, why'd we do that? Well, once again, I got the data and the report, and you can barely see it up there, but 5 years ago, our graduation rates in Stanislaus County were 78%. And you're thinking, oh, well, 78%, 3/4. Well, no, that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. And here's what that means. It means that every year in Stanislaus County, 900 students start school as a freshman that 4 years later do not walk across the stage and get a diploma. 900! This year, next year, next year. Well, what's happening to all those young people? Are they, well, I don't know. I don't know. But we can't let that happen because our community and our state and country can't sustain that. So we said, by golly, we got to do something about it, and we got to focus on getting our students graduated. And that's what we've been doing with this destination graduation. And how did we do it? Well, we had a number of different things that we did that we ramped up. This young man I'm pictured with was a high school classmate of mine. And my wife often tells me, "Tom, why didn't you spend more time with the electronics club, hanging out with those guys?" Because this is Steve Wozniak. And Steve, known as the Woz, created the Apple computer. And we brought him to the Gallo Center. There were 1,000 people that showed up to listen to him talk about thinking outside the box and what it means to be an entrepreneur. And most importantly, as a young person, to always question and always ask, well, what if we tried this? What if we did that? And Steve came and he was happy. He donated his time to us as a classmate because, with Steve Jobs passing away, he goes out, he told me he does kind of picks and chooses, but the year he came to us, he had done 63 worldwide appearances. Appearances like 45 minutes. And I said, "Oh, so you charge on that?" And he kind of chuckled. "Well, I keep it under 100,000, 90,000. 90,000 appearances at 63 in 1 year for 45 minutes. Okay." And he still gets, he said, a little side check from Apple once in a while. But the point is, we brought him out, and what delighted me was in the audience of 1,000, about half of them were young kids in 10 and 12, and they came to see the great Woz. You would have thought that it was the Wizard of Oz. It was the Woz. And it just made my heart happy to know that young people know him and the impact that he's had on all of our lives. Because you think about the Wright brothers and you think about people, the Thomas Edisons and the Ben Franklin. I mean, the people that have really changed our world, and this guy is one of those. And where will the next one come from? Hopefully Stanislaus County. We got to get ready. So we had a lot of people come and talk to us. These two ladies, Lisa and Megan, just this summer went to Philadelphia because of the work that we've been doing with the program called Stan Reads. Remember? Reading, grade level, 3rd grade. They went back to Pennsylvania to get a national award. You can see on that stand-up, that pop-up, Stanislaus County was the California representative with the Pace Setter Award. Yay for us again. Great work that we're doing and being recognized at the national level on this. So, that was another thing that we did to help with the destination graduation. I want you to know, you might have heard that the county office recently purchased the Modesto B building. And that building is going to be a game changer. Well, I can tell another joke. Oh, no, please. So, that's going to be a game changer because here's what we're doing. You have young children, your daycare is a real issue for you, then you bring your kids, you drop them off at the front. And then you go, and if you need a high school diploma, that's what Comeback Kids is for, CBK. We don't give you a GED, we give you a high school diploma. And then you want to be skilled, you want a job, then you go to the back where they used to have all the presses in there for the Modesto B, and we have a partnership with a number of businesses. Volt Institute is the one you probably read about most. And if you want to become any kind of an expert in different trades, then we'll train you up. So already we have masonry workers, we have electricians and plumbers and contract people, construction. You want to drive forklift, we'll train you on that. We've got them all there. And this is just fantastic. But the thing about this Comeback Kid program, when we started, we thought we'd have maybe 25 kids because there's no real advertising. We've graduated 800 students in our community have gone back to school to get a high school diploma. Boy, I can't tell you how powerful that is. 800. Average age of our students in that program is 28. So you think they've probably dropped out in their teens. So 10 years they've just been drifting. And whatever the reason that caused them to go back, praise the Lord, because the teachers that work with them say they're the most motivated people they've ever worked with. Motivation that's a key factor with our young people. But the good news is these youngsters now, they're half of the 800 graduates are already at MJC. They're continuing on because they've got that fire lit, and that's what you need to have that fire in the belly going. And I just wanted to say that at our last graduation, the speaker, they selected a 41-year-old mother, 3 kids. And her kids and her husband were in the front row. You couldn't see them because they had so many flowers and balloons in front of them. But I can tell you, there wasn't a dry eye in the house because in her speech she said, I went back to school at age 41 for 2 reasons. And number one, are my kids sitting down there in that first row, she said, how can I tell them to study, do your homework, get an education? And they look at me and, well, Mom, you don't have one. And she said, I had to change that. I had to change that narrative. And she said, and the second reason is, you might not believe this, you youngsters out there, but she said, I have always wanted to work. I want to work, and I've never been able to get a job because I'm not qualified. She said, this little piece of paper is going to open doors for me. She was so excited and happy, and we're all in the audience just, oh my God. But those are heartwarming stories because that gives people the opportunity that the American dream can be alive for me. And that's what we're about in Stanislaus County. So, here's a picture here of these. Now, it's men and women. It just so happened that the first cohort graduated of these Volt graduates. These young men, they were so excited. And I want you to look at that second bullet. Out of 30 of those graduates, 27 had jobs in hand by the time they got their certificates. Already had jobs. We have jobs in our county. We just never aligned the workforce with the jobs. And we had this disconnect. And now we're going to the business people and saying, well, what are your needs? And we train them up for that. And now it's a win-win. But here's another story. At this ceremony, one of the wives came up to me and she was hugging on me and crying and everything. She said, you just don't know. My husband and I, for 4 years, we've been managing a trailer park. And there's like a dozen trailer parks that we manage and live in with 2 kids in a trailer. And she said, that's been our life. And she said, I want you to know that he got a job as a mechanic, and we just recently put a deposit down. We're going to move into a 3-bedroom house. We're going to rent a 3-bedroom house. I'm telling you what, you would have thought that she just won the lottery. And that's what these types of programs are doing for not just young people, but adults as well. And it's very powerful and satisfying work, to say the least. But there's more. Okay, so close the book on the destination graduation. Our new initiative that I'm going out to all the city councils and talking to them about, so you hear it, is called Cradle to Career. And the whole notion is we want to take these youngsters before they start school and get them all the way to a job at the end of the line. So there are some real key benchmarks along the way. Kindergarten readiness is huge. Paul will tell you that. For the first time in our county and throughout the state, we're using the same assessment, each district. So when kindergarten comes in, the kindergarten teacher the first week can, colors, shapes, can you sit in a circle, do certain things, and that determines kindergarten readiness of students. And so we're being able to compare apples to apples now, and we know that we've got work to do in Stanislaus County. Sadly, many of our young people and families don't have books at home, children's books to read, because many families in Stanislaus County, it's a choice, well, do I buy groceries this week, or do I go spend money and buy a book? So that's what they do. But Stanislaus County, through Sue Rich's efforts, went out and recently purchased 25,000 books, 25,000 books. And through zip code designations, we're getting those books into the school districts, and they're dispersing them to families that can use them. And they're helping the families to show them how to read, ask questions about the books, all of those things. Because the study was done that showed that 61% of poverty families don't have a single piece of children's literature in their room, in their house. So we're doing something about that. That's another thing that we're doing. So this Cradle to Career is a big thing, because you've heard me talk, you've heard everybody talk for years. When are we going to close that achievement gap? We got the haves and the have-not. Well, the gap starts in kindergarten, because I've got some grandkids, and all my two children are both school teachers, and they're married to teachers. And I can tell you that when we go to visit and babysit, it's like, oh, read not 1, 2, or 3 books every night. I mean, they devour them. And I think of where they're going to be when they start kindergarten, they'll be ready. And then I think of those that don't have that opportunity, and there's your gap. There's your gap. And then, oh, by the way, throw in the language barrier, and you can see that we've got challenges. But I can assure you that everyone in Stanislaus County is doing this. We're rolling their sleeves up and saying, hey, let's get after this, because that's just what we do. And Paul's one of the biggest advocates of that. He knows what's going on. He sees it in his district and around the county. And we're all proud to be in education in our county, and we know that we can do it, because in the end, we have to be hope salesmen. Because when you see a young person and you can provide them hope, then you know that you've got them on the right track. And that's what we're all about in Stanislaus County. I know I went a little bit over my 5 minutes. It was my joke probably that went on. But anyway, I thank you most importantly for allowing me the opportunity to come, share kind of what we've done, where we're going in the next initiative, but most importantly, for being a community that is really together. You're all on the same page with education. You know the importance of it, and you value it. And that I just can't tell you how much of a difference that makes. So all of you that are giving back to your communities, thank you very much, because it does make a difference. And I've enjoyed working with all of you through the years, and look forward to great things happening in Stanislaus County. Mr. Mayor, I'm signing off. Thank you very
Tom.
much.
Excellent presentation. I
Okay.
really appreciate it.
Thank you, thank you.
Anyway, none of you can follow that one, but you can try. And with that, we're going to move on to 7, which is items from the public, non-agenda items. So if anyone would like to speak to the council, please go to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and we would love to hear what you have to say. Hi, Paul.
Hi, I'm Paul Wallace. I'm one of the trustees of the school board here in town. If any of you have questions about what Dr. Chignon just talked about as it relates to our district, I'd be glad to answer them. I'd also like to throw a quick plug in for a program called Footsteps to Brilliance. Dr. Chignon talked about the lack of children's literature and activities, and I think all of us would like to be able to hand our phones to our kids, and we're sitting there going, is this really good for them? What in our community, our school district has partnered with this company that does this Footsteps to Brilliance. You can do it as a search on your cell phone. If you have a Newman address, as you sign up for it, you're accepted automatically. It's an educational program so that you hand your student, I think it goes up to about 3rd grade, but it definitely starts before their school age. Footsteps to Brilliance, have a search for it on Google Play or the Apple Store. And like I say, you put in that you have a Newman address as you sign up for your account. You're in for free. That's something that they gave us, and it's been incredibly successful. The number of words read far exceeds everything that anybody expected. I think there's going to be a press conference. Councilmember McDonald, I think that you came with to one of our rollouts, and so. Does anybody have any questions? Just, I wanted to, in case something spurred that you might have a question about our local school district as it relates to what you have to say.
Certainly not. Walter, thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay,
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Magdalena González. Vengo nada más a pedirles un favor, que se me podrían poner unos focos ahí por la calle esta de la iglesia para allá. No hay luz y como salgo yo a veces en la noche, como a las 9 de la noche, está muy oscuras.
Translating for her, Alicia Mendoza, she's asking if there can be light poles set up on Main Street by the church, as it is too dark to walk at nights.
Y también también les quiero decir que si podían arreglar el Alex, que está muy hoyudo, muy feo, porque por allí es mi salida y mi entrada, entonces por allí pueda que me quiebre un pie o a lo mejor, o no sé.
She's also asking for repairs in the alleyway near her home because of the potholes and dangers to her being injured, leg break, or anything else.
Aquí por el 33 está un hoyo muy feo también, que una vez se cayó ahí mi nuera y no lo podíamos sacar del hoyo, pero me dijo perfecto que le dijéramos a trancas o a trampas, ¿sabes? No sé cómo se llama. Entonces no sé yo ni con quién dirigirme, entonces les pido a ustedes que me hagan el favor.
She's also stating that her daughter-in-law fell in a pothole on 33, and she spoke to Perfecto regarding that, and I believe he referred her to Public Works.
Pues disculpe la molestia, era todo lo que yo les quería decir, pero si necesitan algo de mí, en lo que yo les pueda servir, estoy a sus órdenes. Gracias.
She's stating, sorry for the bother, and anything she can be of assistance of, she is more than willing to help with.
Could you relay this to her? Tell her we really appreciate her coming, letting us know her concerns. She's a longtime resident of this community. I remember working with her years back when I first got here with the West Park project. She was one of the outreach people for the Hispanics. But just let her know that we appreciate her coming forward, letting us know her concerns.
We have staff look into that situation. Thank you.
Hi everyone, Joanne Lamas. Most of you, if not all of you, know me as a field representative for State Senator Anthony Canella. Tonight I am here in my new role as a public relations and grant writing coordinator. Richard.
Both of you.
With the Newman Crows Landing Unified School District. That is my new position, and so you'll be seeing me around more in that capacity. For the month of October and through term out in November, I will be acting as both, but tonight I'm here on behalf of the school district for an announcement on our Health and Wellness Showcase that's happening on October 24th at the Louis J. Newman Memorial Building, and it's going to be from 1 to 6. It's going to be an interactive day where community members, students, and their families are going to come and sample food that the children are eating on campus. There's going to be a farmer's market. There should be a fire truck and ambulance there for people to interact with, and it's just to showcase health and wellness here in Newman Crows Landing Unified School District and how the school district's promoting that through you. So it's from 1 to 6 so that your students can go while they're in school, and then you can come after school or after work. I'll leave flyers in the back. If you have any questions, let me know, or contact Carolyn.
Welcome to Newman.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you guys.
Pleased to have your smiling face continue in our city, so
Yes.
please.
Yeah, on a personal note, thank you guys for the last 2.5 years as a rep for Senator Canella. The city of Newman's always been
Well.
super great and very welcoming. Never felt more at home. So, and now I get to call it home, after November, permanent home, work-wise.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations.
And could you let her know that we asked the staff to look into her concerns? Thank you.
Richard Gayton, address 556 Banff Drive. Also a Vietnam veteran. I have disabilities. I'm here on 3 issues. The first issue is that I think we should follow the footsteps of the city of Turlock and Gustine and honoring our young people that are serving in the military today by posting flags throughout Main Street. And also, number 2, I believe we're working on a Veterans Memorial Park, and you're looking for a committee. I would like to be part of that committee if we haven't. And I also served 6 years with Stanislaus County Veterans Advisory Commission. As you can see, we developed a new building for our veterans to go and file their claims. And not only that, we also have rooms that we can rent out if you want to have functions there. So they're open to the public, not just veterans, for everybody else. And my third issue is the main reason I'm here. I viewed your last, live stream your last city council meeting, and I was really disappointed. I've been your Parks and Recreation Commissioner for the last almost 20 years. The last couple of years has been rough. We have not had a meeting. I hear we have a new director. I was told we were going to have a meeting, but that's unacceptable. I've been a commissioner for the Stanislaus County. I've been a commissioner for the city of Modesto, Equal Opportunity for Housing, and also serve other groups. But we always had a meeting, regardless if you had something on the agenda. As commissioner, we are your voices to the city council. We take the recommendation from the public. That's why you guys are elected. If a citizen comes up to you and have a complaint, you don't tell them to go see the city manager. Your job is to address that concern to the city council and try to make a resolution. If not, then you can take it to the city manager. And I'm also disabled. My wife's disabled. I was the one that brought the complaint about the palm trees, and you guys laughed about it. I heard about it, and that's really unacceptable to me. I don't have any palm trees, gentlemen, but yet I got the ticket. My wife came up here last week. She's the president of 50 Plus Club. Somebody told her from your office she better move those palm trees or we'll get another citation of $50. Well, my wife spent the whole next day out there. My wife has a disability. She has scoliosis, if you know what that is. That affects the lower back. Friday, we went to Social Security to see if we could get her Social Security on that. But she was out there for 6 hours trying to clean up everything, that mess that somebody done. So, if I come here with a complaint and they're said that it's been resolved or something, I better have a report on that investigation. I did not get a report for anything that I brought up to the city. There was
Just turn our phones off, please.
yeah. So, Mr. Day, I believe you owe Mr. McDonald an apology, because if somebody comes up to you, you better address their concern, not pass it off to the city manager. That's not his job. The job's here, address the public with their concerns. And see, I'm out of thunder now. But this is what it is. I serve our veterans here in Stanislaus County. I'm the veterans advocate, and we have a lot of veterans here. And today, I just saw a newscast. One of our veterans passed away. It's really close to my heart. Being a Vietnam veteran will never happen to anybody else that happened to us. There's one thing that's still going on. We have Agent Orange. It's never going to be cured, gentlemen. It's taking us one by one. I'm just biding my time right now. My body's breaking down. I have sugar diabetes. I have fibromyalgia. I have spondylosis on my L5 in the back and all this stuff. But yet, I dedicate myself to my young people here in the city of Newman. I've been coaching my young people from soccer, baseball, and basketball year after year after year. I have seen a lot of young people graduated now. Some are in the military, and they come back, hey, coach. I'm looking, who are you? Don't you remember me? So I'm in my third generation of coaching. And it's been a pleasure coaching my kids because they are out there becoming well-developed adults taking responsibility. And also, sir, on the VOTE program, it's a good program because we hold job fairs for our veterans and other people. And VOTE is a vocational place where you can get training. You can get, like you said, you can get a certificate for forklift training. We have a lot of openings now, and like I said, my job is to take care of my veterans. And adios, Joanne. I've worked with Joanne for a long time, so she knows how I get. She'll go, Richard, sit on in, Richard. So, but anyway, I want to thank you for your time to let me speak to you tonight. God bless.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you for your service also.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak to the council at this time? If not, we're going to move on to item 8, consent calendar. A, waive all readings of ordinance and resolutions except by title. B, approval of warrants. C, approval of minutes of September 25th, 2018 meeting. D, adopt resolution number 2018 next number, a resolution opposing the State Water Resource Control Board, SWRCB, Bay Delta Plan, Phase 1, Draft Substitute Environmental, Document SED, and urge the board to pursue a more comprehensive solution. E, adopt resolution number 2018 next number, resolution approving and amending to the Joint Powers Agreement of the Stanislaus County of Governments.
I move that we approve the consent calendar as read.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Thank you. 9 is a public hearing. No public hearing tonight, so we'll move on to regular business. Officer Short, you're in a hurry. A, report of Newman Chamber of Commerce tree lighting event at the downtown plaza.
Good evening, Mayor, council
Christmas
members.
is almost here, huh?
Almost, yes it is. The Chamber of Commerce has once again requested exclusive use of the downtown plaza and the 1300 block of Main Street on December 1st of this year, which is a Saturday, from 3:30 to 7 p.m. to host their annual tree lighting event in our beautiful downtown tree. There will be the DJ playing music. It'll be a no alcohol event as well. They will set up in the west parking lot and also in the 1300 block of Main Street, and they'll have the east parking lot of the plaza open for parking. They have requested exclusive use of the plaza and the 1300 block of Main Street, use of the plaza restroom facilities and electrical power. They want to waive the cleanup deposit, business license requirement, insurance reduction to $1 million, and to use the city's traffic control devices to block off the 1300 block of Main Street. And I can answer any questions that you may have about this event as it stands to date.
Any questions? Okay, with that, I'll bring it back to the council for direction.
I move that we accept the report on the Newman Chamber of Commerce tree lighting event at the downtown plaza with the request specified.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion's been made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Thank you. One more.
Still here.
B, adopt resolution number 2018, next number. Police Academy recruiting job description and salary.
Yes, just as the superintendent of schools for the county said that teachers are having difficulty being hired, same goes with law enforcement. Generally, how we've done our hiring in the past is we've looked for academy graduates who have already went to the academy themselves, and we bring them out and we try to pick them up. When the economic downturn happened, the Ray Simon Criminal Justice Training Center in Modesto, agencies were not hiring police officers, so they shut down. No one's going to be there, so they just shut it down. When they came back online, they're agency only. So anyone that wants to be an independent individual and go to the academy themselves would have to go to Stockton or Fresno City College. So that's where our pool has generally come from, is people that would want to go to Stockton to go to school. And there's other options, but most of the time it's full-time for 5 months out of your year, and a lot of people cannot do that because they have to have a place to live and pay some bills. So what we would like to do is to hire a police recruit. So we're asking that a job description is outlined in here, and it would be a salary schedule for this person, but we would hire a police recruit and send them to the academy on our behalf so that when they would graduate, they would come on as a police officer. So the hiring plan here is to start advertising, and we should have this individual on by, I would say, the 1st of March, right in there. And then the academy starts towards the end of March, if I remember correctly. And if you look at the salary schedule there is a 5-step scale, but that's just to be in conformity with the police department's 5-step salary range that we do have. And that would start at $25. $29 per month would be the step A on that salary scale. And this will open up that opportunity to individuals. We'll have a much bigger pool to select from and send to the academy there. So I can answer any questions that you may have.
Will the recruit move through the steps?
No.
Okay,
When
come
they would be
in
hired at, let's say, step A, they'd go to the academy, and this will all happen over a 5-month period. So when they graduate the academy, they'll move over into the police officer position at step A of the police officer position.
Got it.
What is the length of the academy?
Generally 5 months. There's a certain hour requirement to that, but it pans out at about 5 months full-time, Monday through Friday. Or they might even do Saturdays. They'll skip a day and do a Saturday, but it's a 40-hour week.
If during the process the student or the recruit cannot complete the academy, what's the alternative?
If they can no longer finish the
Participate.
academy, then they would no longer be that police recruit.
Okay, so they would have paid them up to that point, and then they're gone.
That would be correct.
Okay, so the screening is really important.
Yeah, we plan to do the whole thing with the physical agility testing, the Pellet B as it's called. It's mostly English composition and grammar testing and writing. We'll do that, those two in there, and then as well as the interview process here as well. And then we'll pick the best candidates that we have, and we'll go through the same process that we do with police officers, so they'll all have to go through a background check, which can be lengthy, medical and psychological evaluations.
This program was done a couple of years ago, and the officer's still with us, right?
Correct, that is correct, yes. We did that with Officer Lopez. He's our school resource officer. Currently, I believe that might have been 2008, right in there.
Yeah, 11 years ago.
I like the program. Any other questions from the council?
No?
I can tell you that currently in the applications that we get in may be 5, maybe.
I like this because it brings a lot more opportunity to our community, people in our community, rather than hiring out somebody that's from Stockton or from Modesto, just trying to get their foot in the door. As soon as they do a little time, they're going to leave and go back to their hometowns. And it grows opportunity for people within our community to become officers and stay here, hopefully, with us.
It will be
rather than
good,
move
and
on.
you can see that most of the people that will go to the academy in those areas are generally closer to those areas. I have
Correct.
seen people from Newman go to Delta College, but it's really tough because that's a 45 minutes to 1 hour one-way drive,
Correct.
depending on the time of day.
Any further question? If not, then I'm gonna bring it back to the council for direction.
I
Make a
move-
motion, we adopt resolution 2018, next number, Police Academy recruit job description and salary.
I'll second that. We all second that.
I didn't. Anyway, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0 with 2 seconds.
Thank you.
It's funny. C, authorize the city manager to execute a professional service agreement with Santee for design, engineering, and bid and construction support services for the WWTRF reclamation systems to serve Pike 1. Is that you?
It's me. Thank you.
Catherine.
Thank you, Mayor.
Welcome.
She snuck in. Yeah,
Thank
she's just
you.
real quiet, just right up there.
She has her mouth
ears on.
So, as part of our wastewater reclamation facility upgrade at our wastewater treatment facility, which is WWTRF, before I ever got here, staff has purchased, you guys have authorized the purchase of land to upgrade that wastewater facility. And the next step in that is designing the irrigation system that will allow us to move water from a well that's on this property and mix that with wastewater, or get the wastewater, the treated wastewater, to the McPike 1 property so we can grow crops and utilize that land as part of our treatment facility. This will allow Stantec to design and engineer the irrigation system, and then they will also provide bid and construction support when it comes time for us to construct the irrigation system. The fiscal impact is the project's funded by the Capital Sewer Fund. We budgeted less than what we needed. We budgeted $225,000. This proposal will require a budget amendment in the amount of $150,000 for a total project cost of $375,000. We put a $20,000 contingency in case we come across some environmental thing that we need to do as we move forward through the design process. Basically, McPike 1 is identified as 142 acres of land for use in the operation of our wastewater treatment plant. And as part of the planned facility upgrade, improvements must be made to use the land as intended. This item will authorize the city manager to enter into a professional services agreement with Stantec for the design, engineering, and construction support services for the design of the irrigation system for McPike 1 for not to exceed $375,000. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
The irrigation process that you're talking about to raise crops and that kind of thing also helps with ground recharge, right?
It does.
Groundwater
The
recharge.
freshwater well that's on the property can be used and blended with the higher salt water that's coming as our treated wastewater. And if Lance blends it out there, then it can recharge the system with a lower salinity level. And that just helps our groundwater recharge process and helps us meet requirements that the state burdens us with.
Okay, we'll bring it back to the council for direction.
I move that we authorize the city manager to execute a professional services agreement with Stantec for design, engineering, and bid and construction support services for the WWTRF reclamation system to serve McPike 1.
second the motion.
Okay, motion been made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to D, authorize the city manager to execute a professional service agreement with Stan Tech for well 6R emergency test drilling and design services.
That's me again. All I do is spend money. Everything I do costs too much. So in December of last year, well 6 failed because we were pumping sand, and we rehabilitated it. We were hopeful with a new shaft, column pipe, and pump bowls, and the cleaning and video. We assessed the screens, and we felt like with a rehabilitation, we could get another useful life, another 5-6 years out of that well. Well, it pumped for about 6 months, and now it's been 10. The well's been off for 2 months, and it's pumping fine sand again. This is going to wear the bowls out rapidly. It gets into the customers' water lines. It just messes everything up. It can hide bacteria, and so we would have a worse water quality. We took the well out of service, and then we needed to bring in, because we had this problem twice in a row, a consultant that had a hydrologist on board to assess the situation. Stan Tech is a very well-known firm. They have a hydrologist on staff, and we went with them and assessed the situation, and on their advice, they advised us that it'd be a good idea to drill a test hole, and rather than just drill a hole right next to it and design it exactly like the old well that's pumping sand, we drill a test hole, and then we pull samples, and we evaluate the quality of water from the different production zones, and then design the new well 6 on those parameters that will result in the best water quality with no sand, hopefully. We also considered blinding off, profiling the well, and then kind of putting a blinder down in the well to stop sand from coming in. That's a high-risk option that may only be effective for another 6 months and could cost just as much as this first step, because the sand can move around, and then we may end up with the same predicament as before. This is an emergency because we have now one well down. If we were to have another well fail at this time, we would go into mandatory stage 3 conservation. We would need the help of the schools and every large water user to massively conserve. So it's a critical issue. We can get this done pretty rapidly with Stan Tech if you would authorize the $94,700. And what that will do is do a test hole and then design the new well based on the parameters that we find on the water zones. And then we'll bring that back to you when we come up with what we need to do. The well will be drilled on the site where well 6 exists now. The hydrologist, we're going to be able to use the existing surface controls and piping and valves. So we picked a location where we can reuse that stuff, and also the new stuff. Once we pull it and inspect it, we anticipate that we'll be able to use the column pipe and the shaft and the bowls, because we just put them in 6 months ago, as long as the sand didn't wear them down too much. So we think this will be economically feasible for us. And so I would ask that you authorize the city manager to execute a professional services agreement with Stan Tech to perform emergency test drilling and design services for well 6R in the amount not to exceed $94,700. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from council? We'll bring it back to council for direction.
Move that we authorize the city manager to execute a professional services agreement with Stan Tech for well 6 emergency test drilling and design services.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.
You're welcome.
And we're gonna skip 11 and move right on to 12. Items from the city manager and staff.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple quick items. We are in cleanup week, so if you have stuff you need to dump off, that'll be this week. You can dump it off at Berlotti's, the same location it's been for the last 10 years on M Street. Trunk or treat's coming up. Halloween, be downtown. Trunk or treat will take place between 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. and that's being led by the after-school program in the Newman Crows Landing. Our new planner is scheduled to start next week on the 16th. So Justin Hendricks is his name. He brings about 15 years of experience in the planning world, in the valley planning, to our organization. So we look forward to having him. Wanted to congratulate Joanna on her new position. She's going to be a wonderful addition to the school district, and look forward to her and Allie working together. They're going to be kind of co-parts of the different organizations that moving together. She's public relations. That's kind of what our community liaison's going to do. So I can see them working really well together. So excited about that. And that's all that I have right now, man.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Now, move on to Ellie Mendoza. And young lady, I want to get your title straight. Is Parks and Recreation Director?
Recreation Director, Community
Okay. We want to give you the right title. Anyway, welcome, honey, and we're anxious to hear your report.
Thank you. So this past
Get to speak into the microphone.
This past month, I was able to attend our tourism roundtable here in Stanislaus County. It was more or less a meet and greet with a whole bunch of different identities from Stanislaus County. I was able to meet with the Chamber of Commerce from Oakdale, Modesto, Turlock, just different groups out there. More or less, it was, like I stated before, a meet and greet. The roundtable has been in there for a long time, but they're revamping it. And they wanted all of us to more likely meet and just explain who we were and where we were from. Out there was myself and Kathy, a representative from the Newman Theater. It was more or less networking and just being able to get to know everybody, speaking to everybody. One of the main subjects they touched on was the challenge of working in Stanislaus County all together, not against each other. And bringing tourism from other states or countries to Stanislaus County, and instead of putting one of us down, so Modesto putting Newman down or Turlock putting down, working together and making a plan to target each and every city in our Stanislaus County region. I also attended our health task force and was able to network there and meet influential people in that course. Now, like City Manager Holland stated, I will also be at the Farmers Market October 24th that the school district is putting on. We will have an interactive and an informative booth out there promoting the city and also recreation. And we will be part of the trunk or treat on Halloween. And a little bit more not only on the community liaison but recreation. Soccer's going well. We're a little bit more than halfway through soccer, and we're still selling those hot dogs and hamburgers like crazy. So that's been great, and basketball season is now starting, and we are taking registrations for all the children out there right now.
Lieutenant Short, do you have anything tonight, sir?
Sure, why not? Trunk or treat, we will have a canine unit out there at Trunk or Treat, and even Canine Aries is supposed to be in some sort of costume. You'll have to check him out and see. Our animal clinic was last week. It had a decent turnout at Pioneer Park. Our new police car should be delivered anytime soon. It's getting upfitted with all its equipment. And you may notice that there is one police car in our back parking lot that has collision damage. It was struck by a vehicle on its way home. So we'll get that all repaired up and it'll be back out in a few weeks, I'm sure. to answer any questions you have.
No questions, but thank you. Thank you for keeping us safe.
You're welcome.
Lou, anything tonight?
I didn't have anything tonight, but I'll answer any questions you might have.
Are we still sound financially?
Absolutely.
You know, bottom line is what, nobody realizes, bottom line is everything in life. That's everything. That's where everything goes to the bottom line.
Got to be looking forward.
Okay, thank you. We keep a close eye on you, too. Anyway,
He keeps a
Catherine?
close eye on all of us. I have nothing else to report. Thank you for approving the staff reports. We'll be working on those projects diligently.
Fire Prevention Week's kicked off, so this year's campaign or theme is Look, Listen, Learn. So we'll be visiting all the elementary schools in town. So keep your eye out there for us. And then you'll notice all the red fire engines have no collision damage. I don't have anything else unless you guys got questions for me.
No.
You're
And
done.
you know something,
You're
you
done.
hired him.
Are
Anyway,
you
thank
guys
Thanks,
participating
everyone.
in the Great Shake or whatever it is, or is that through the school?
Oh, that's in the Bay Area?
Just the Bay Area?
Is that what it is? I think it's in San Francisco or something, huh? I don't know. I'll be honest, we're not part of it.
Well, hopefully they'll fall into the ocean.
We get beachfront property?
Yeah, beachfront property. Okay.
Casey, anything for us tonight?
No, Chief might not have any collisions on his engines, but they need new recliners.
Oh, that's
They're wore
true.
out.
Yeah, in the firehouse.
That's Firehouse. He'll be putting that bill for it next time.
They want
I have
one
no-
with a
I have nothing
vibrator.
tonight.
They want one with a vibrator and heat.
I don't.
It's hard being popular. It's hard being loved.
Our firehouse, I think it is beautiful. I can't believe
Thank
it.
you.
I mean,
Thank
you have to see it to believe it. You should go. It is really first class. I mean,
See?
I've never been in a more beautiful firehouse than ours.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's really nice.
Recliners.
Nothing tonight?
Nothing.
Nick?
Nothing tonight.
Larry?
Nothing.
Oh, well, I get to say something.
Yeah.
I just like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. You know, it's always special to have people in the audience and that have concerns about what's going on in our city or in the world or whatever else. So thank you so much. And with that, I'm going to ask for adjournment.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
all in favor,
Second.
say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.